hello. I'm going to adjust things here. Perfect. So this is second try. My mic died mid offering. So here I am. Thank you, Jody, for letting me know there was no sound. And so let's try this again. Yeah, so interesting how these things happen, and we're going with the flow, because that's what 2022 is all about, is going with the flow, right? So here we are. So we're here to really invite a discussion and container of opening the portal. Opening the portal is actually a PDF and a resource that I create every year. It has the energies in review. I describe all the various themes that are coming through for the collective, and I also do like a monthly breakdown for each and every month and what those energies for the collective may be coming in for us. And so I also have my notes here on my laptop so that I can remember all the things. And so really the opening of the portal is to be your inspiration for your inward journey to discover and embody your truth, using this guide in your meditation, in your journaling, and all of your practices. And so welcome. Thank you for joining us in this circle, in this discussion, as we dive into the energies for 2022. And I will also, following this video, I will post the link for this resource in the comments, so you'll be able to access it. It's absolutely free. It's on a printable PDF, so you can print it off. You could keep it on your device, and that will be in there as well. And so it is actually located in the resources portal that I have in Mighty Networks. That includes a lot of other resources, which are yoga and meditation, resources for embodiment, and it's really all about your spiritual path. And the other really cool resource I'm really excited in the portal is the let me say it correctly, the Art of Setting Intentions Calendar Guide and Journal. So you'll be able to access that as well. And that goes really, really beautifully with opening the portal. So let's dive into the energies, shall we? Round 2. All right. So the intention of this guide and this container is to inspire your intuition, to inspire your connection to your inner wisdom through the power of symbolism and reflection. And it's all about you diving into your energetic body. So whatever is not resonating, cool, leave it behind. Whatever resonates, flow with that, right? So this is what it's all about. It's all about you connecting to your intuition. And this is a general overview. And yeah, so let's dive in. So some of the 3 main themed words that I've highlighted were environment, reciprocity, and accessing higher realms. And so it's really about, when I say accessing higher realms, really tuning into our consciousness, really accessing, the higher realms within. It is not something outside of us. It is something that already lives within us, within our nature, within the beautiful intelligence and wisdom of the body, right? We all share this wisdom. And when I speak to the environment, it's not only the ecosystem around us, but also the ecosystem within us, internally, within our mind, within our path, within our own bodies, the ecosystem that we are cultivating around us in our lives, in our day-to-day ecosystem, within our homes, within our daily living. And so that is what we will be really focused on cultivating this year for 2022. And so let's get into some of the highlights. I'm so excited. So one of the highlights I mentioned for 2022 is totality. So within each moment, we have the opportunity to be fully present, to be total. The awareness of when we are absent within the mind, within the body and soul is an essential practice. You know, when are we checking out? And to be aware of that. And it's a practice. And it's as simple as that. And be gentle with yourself, because I don't know if any human has perfected the practice of being present every single moment, you know, in their lives. There's simply moments, but it's just to be aware of the ebb and flow of when we're present, when we're checking out, and what that feels like, what that looks like, maybe what narratives are following that, right? It's simply to be gentle and to be aware of that, because there's so much wisdom within that, the awareness of that. The other theme that is really coming up for the energies and the forefront of 2022 is creativity. We are all creators. We're all creators. We're all creative beings. Each moment, we are creating each moment. Right here, right now, we're actually co-creating this moment together. Here in this circle, I always view, yeah, thanks, Sandy. I view every time I hop on to social media, for me, it's a sacred space, it's a sacred channel, and a sacred circle where I get to connect with amazing, beautiful human beings that I've cultivated in my environment, right? So notice we go back to the environment. My platforms, I've spent a lot of time cultivating connections with human beings that really I love and inspire me or light me up, and yeah, so we are co-creating this experience. And this year is really a beautiful remembrance as to our divinity and our inner creator, right? So that will really be at the forefront and become very intentional with what we are creating within each moment. So that's where the art of intention setting and that calendar and that guide really comes in handy, and coincides with opening the portal, this doc and this resource, because then we can really become intentional with our energy and what we are creating in our daily lives. So creativity is the quality that you bring to the activity that you are participating in, right? I'll read that again. Creativity is the quality that you bring to the activity you are participating in. So we are bringing a certain quality to each moment, to everything that we are creating, and to trust in that. So 2022 is really inviting a lot of trust in our capacity. And all of that work we have been doing, I know a lot of you watching are doing incredible work. Your inner work, thank you, it's amazing. And It is all coming into right here, right now, in this divine moment of really, really recognizing your divinity and your inner creativity. So it's all in the how we do it. You know, we're creating each and every moment. When you make a meal, when you make your bed, you're creating that. We're creators. So how are we doing that? What is our attitude? What is the presence in how we are showing up in this moment of creativity, right? And then in the theme of 2022, one of the main overarching themes for the energy is reciprocity. So then we get into how are we co-creating, you know, this whole back and forth, you know, this whole circular motion of creation. And one of the other themes is sharing. I'm really excited about this theme. Because for me, I've noticed last year was really interesting where I've noticed that there was some things within my conditioning, within my mindset of hoarding, like hoarding my energy and not in the, feeling that I needed to hoard certain things, and not necessarily physical items, but I wasn't necessarily sharing my energetic abundance in the way that I really thought I was, if that makes sense. Let me know if anyone can relate to this. So if you're here either watching the live or the replay, I would love to hear from you. How is this resonating? Share your thoughts, share your vibes, and what is flowing through you in this moment in time. And so our capacity to support others and offer our abundance can only be achieved when we are cultivating an inner ecosystem of abundance, right? We are all abundant in love. We are abundant in compassion, power, and energy. And this year is really about recognizing and remembering. It's all a remembering. None of which I am speaking to is something outside of us. It's all within each and every one of us. And if it's not something that you're necessarily feeling at this moment in time, that's okay. You know, no judgments, and be gentle, because we all flow through phases and feelings and emotions. And simply because we are in a specific state, it doesn't mean that we are not powerful creators. Days that we feel like we are falling apart and we're a hot fucking mess, you know, I have those days. We're still powerful creators. And maybe even more connected in those moments, in those raw, real emotions, right? That we are flowing through. That is our natural state of being, is to fully express each and every emotion and phase within us. And so one of the other themes and energies that are coming up into the collective is our relationship to the energy of fighting. You know, you might have noticed, you know, some are calling it the Great Divide, I know, in the spiritual communities. You know, it's an interesting term, but there's this energy of fighting, you know, or resisting, and fighting and resisting, you know. Notice how that feels. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't, you know, do our activism work, that we shouldn't speak up and share our truth. But notice the energy in which we are holding that space. Are we doing it to push back? Are we doing it in simply standing in our power and sharing our truth? So this year we'll be noticing that energy, you know, will be amping up, a continuation from the last previous years. And this year for 2022, we'll be really coming into a deeper awareness with this energy of fighting, but it all comes from our internal landscape. What are we fighting and resisting within us? And that's where it begins, right? And so that is the work that we are here to do. And where are we so rigid, and where are we so black and white, you know, within our mindset? And so the other theme for this year is the rebel. I love the rebel. The rebel has been with me for many years. I was a very rebellious teen. Very rebellious teenager, and I think of her a lot, and I really love inviting her in a more balanced way into my years now. And so the rebel within us is needed, you know, and you may have noticed the rebel within everyone is really shining through. And it's a very powerful and needed force in this moment in time, because the rebel is the breaker of chains, the breaker of conditioning, and the rebel is like the speaker of truth. You know, all of the, you know, activists you see out there, they're standing in their rebel. They're totally doing it, right? Even sitting here and doing this work, we could also say being on a spiritual path can be viewed as rebellious to some as well. You know, that in itself is a little rebellious against the grain and the culture that we are in here in North America. And so I'd love to read what I've wrote here in the Opening the Portal PDF around the rebel, because I love, yeah, Gordon, I'm going to read that in a second. I'm excited. So yeah, I like the way it flowed through here. And so again, this PDF will be linked in the comments following this video. So the rebel is the breaker of chains, the breaker of conditioning, the speaker of truth, emerging from the dark soil and formless roots into the unconscious past, receiving nutrients to bloom from the wisdom of our experiences. All we need is within us. We already have it. There's nothing else that we need. We already have it within us. We are here for truth. So anyone in this space, in this circle that we are in right now, thank you for being here. For one, thank you for sharing your energy. And I know you are here, you're a truth seeker as well. That is what this path is all about, right? And so the rebel in this energy for 2022 will also guide us to not get stuck into these lenses of, you know, all these different lenses we have of perceptions. You know, we put all these perceptions in front of our truth, And so we are peeling back the veils and the layers and the lenses, you know, in a very, very big way. Very big way. So invite the rebel to guide you into that, you know? That's very, very important. And so our truth, I often see it as like a nesting doll, you know, one of those wooden dolls. I forget where they're from in Europe, but they're wooden, and you take one off, and then you have the other one, and you take the other one apart, and you keep on going. And truth seeking is like that. It's like this beautiful journey that's unfolding. So I'd love to read Gordon. Hello from Ontario. Oh, hi. Across from Buffalo, New York. I think the rebel has a cause, like you're saying, and creates the connective energy to give motion to ourselves. Yeah, it's such a needed energy when imbalanced, right? When imbalanced. Like all energies, like, anger imbalance can be a very potent and holy, sacred, necessary force. Yeah, I feel you. And so one of the other themes that are coming through that I have here in the opening the portal is maybe feeling like an outsider. So I know many can relate to this feeling like an outsider, and I'd love to invite you into what does that actually mean? Many of us feel that we are trapped or caged or, unsure, but it's all perception. And that's what we're really seeing this year is the cage that we thought we were in was unlocked the entire time. Right? And I myself, I'm continuing to work with that and work with that energy. Yeah, so it's really, really potent energy. And so I also have listed in this doc some of the perspective shifts we are invited into. So I have the overarching themes, then I share some perspective shifts, and then I go into some resources, and then the month-to-month breakdown of the energies for each month, which I won't go into the energies for each month. You'll be able to click on the link and receive that document for yourself. So you'll be able to work with all of those themes. But let's tune in here for a moment. Yeah, so I'll go over, I'm just checking in, doing a check. Let's do some perspective shifts here, energy of what's coming in for 2022. So some of the perspective shifts we are invited into is that energy, I've been seeing it all over the place already, is just let it go, letting go, or releasing, let it go. But that's actually one of the biggest questions I receive in sessions with clients is like, how the fuck do I let this shit go? It's literally the most common question. And so it's interesting, that concept and that perception, right? And sometimes instead of letting go, we need the energy of acceptance, of befriending, because if we are the universe and everything lives within us, what are we really letting go of? It's interesting. It's really, I almost see it as like unhooking from certain narratives and conditioning that we are behaving through and moving our actions through. And that's essentially what we are meaning by let that shit go. So it's finding balance. It's really about finding balance a lot of times too. So it's interesting. I use the example of anger. So say if you're like, oh, I want to let go of my anger. I want to let go of my anger. It's interesting to be mindful as to, when we are saying these stories of I want to let go of, notice your perception around that. And if you can reframe or rephrase it. So with the example of anger, I would reframe that as I would love to balance my anger, because it's not like we can stop an emotion, right? So it's all about bringing it into balance because anger is necessary. So I hope that resonates and you can apply that example to other things that you might be saying I want to let go of, and then fill in your blank there, right? So that's what we will be really learning and becoming very intentional of our perception of every time we say, just let go, notice, right? Notice what's coming up and how you're actually saying it. Is it something you need to be befriending? Is it something you need to be accepting versus letting go, right? Is it something you need to unhook of conditioning and take different actions, different behavior, versus saying, I just want to let go. And we're also healing and working with our conditioning a lot. You know, a lot of us have been doing this for many, many years, but the current energies are inviting the masses into understanding that we have internalized programming and conditioning, right? And that we all need to be mindful and really aware of this. Integration is also one of the perspective shifts that we will flow through for 2022. And in integration, it is as simple as taking time in your own energy. And integration is also action in motion. That's integration. It is an essential part of our healing because I notice actually that's one of the biggest gaps and the biggest spaces that people feel their stuckness. When people come to me and say, oh, I feel stuck, I need to heal this thing. Quite often they already have this intellectual awareness of what it is that is keeping them stuck, but they haven't yet taken it into the next step of changing the pattern behavior and integrating it into action, or taking the time that they need in their own energy to really review and reflect and have a look at all of those actions and how they are a participant in continuing that narrative and continuing that behavior. And so this year, even if you're already aware of this and really deep into integration, we'll be going even deeper and deeper understandings. And then 2 other perspective shifts I have listed here for 2022. One of the perspective shifts will be on aloneness and togetherness, right? It's this, part of, it's written in, all the poets wrote about it, people speak to it all the time, that sense of feeling alone. I think all humans can relate to a feeling of loneliness. We often feel like we are the only ones, we're the lone wolf, so to speak. But there's this, there's this interesting energy because as humans, we need community to survive. We can't survive alone, we need each other. And it's an interesting thing because now is the time to dig deep and understand. So to understand some of our patternings around our narratives around being alone. Are we self-isolating through our mindset? Are we doing it in our relationship? Are we maybe in relationships or partnerships and spaces that maybe are unhealthy for us because we fear being alone? So there's going to be, like I described in that perspective shift, I won't go into all of it here. I'm going to let you dive in if you're interested in going into that, teasing that out a little bit more. You can go into the PDF, and I really encourage you to go into those spaces and take it even deeper. I know I myself can relate. For many, many years, I felt so alone that I was in many unhealthy relationships and partnerships and communities and spaces that were really not for me, or maybe weren't healthy because of that fear of simply being alone. And we can work stronger together when we are in the space of self-resourcefulness. So what will support that feeling of aloneness is recognizing our own self-resources. We have so many resources within us. And and that inner richness and maturity will be developing for 2022, and that understanding of our relationship to aloneness. One of the other perspective shifts we're inviting into is, I wrote here, ordinariness, which is all about the simple things in life. Keeping it simple. The everyday mundane moments we can find bliss in. You know, we're often chasing this high. You know, if anyone's been a runner, you're like chasing the runner's high. You know, if you're in a practice like meditation or yoga and you receive those moments of bliss, to be mindful of what we are really, our intentions are in that moment. Are we continuously chasing that high of bliss? Or can we really recognize that bliss is right now, right here, always? It's in the mundane. It's in the washing the dishes, when I wash my hands, when I clean my room. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And so 2022 really invites us into the mundane and to see and feel and sense that this everyday current lives within our very environment around us and within us, because we are bliss. We are the bliss. It's not, again, not something outside of us. This is something within us. And so 2022 is really inviting us to view our perspective on, are we trying to chase that, right? Or can we invite that into those everyday moments? Can I be blissful while I'm vacuuming, right? And so let's go into, I'm having a lot of fun here hanging out with it, y'all. So I'm gonna go into the resources. And so the resources for 2022 is our inner resources that will really support our energies and what's coming through. So as you read through like the monthly breakdown of the energy report for month to month, you can flow back to the resources page, which will be your support and your guide and insight to really help you as well when we're flowing through all these ebbs and flows through the year 2022. This will help also be your anchor. So this opening the portal doc will also help be your anchor, especially the resources page. So I highlighted number 1 is the creator. Again, we are all creators. One of our resources will actually be courage, to be blooming in our vulnerability and what that means for us. And I've quoted Brene Brown here. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. One of our resources is our capacity to be moment to moment, our flexibility, our adaptability. And one of our resources will also be experiencing. What does that mean for you to be experiencing? To really get into the human experience, to embody each breath, each moment as sacred. Spend time in nature and observe, right? That is where we really learn. That's our school. That's our teacher. Go to the forest, to the ocean, if you live in the desert, go to the desert. In nature, that's where we really learn. That's our university. That's where we get our degrees, is when we sit and observe in nature. And I'd love to share a final note of expectations. You know, we have we're placing so many expectations on ourselves, on the year, on what's to come. And yeah, Jordan, yeah, or Gordon, yeah, I'm glad you like that. We're placing so many expectations. You know, how can we shift these expectations? It's so beautiful to be hopeful and to send prayers and to pray upon an outcome. But it's really about being moment by moment and releasing those outcomes. And when things don't come out as expected, to be gentle with ourselves, to not go into shame and judgment as if we've done something wrong. Because, it's not like we can control anything. That's the interesting thing about this path, about this journey. Those of us who are here on the path, we know that we are not here to control everything. And it's quite the opposite. It's about trust and letting go of the wheel, because we're learning that we don't really control anything. And the more we try, the more frustrated we become. And so really notice the environment you're cultivating and how expectations weave their way into your everyday, into your narrative, and into the stories that you are sharing with yourself. That's really, really, really important. And so, so I'm really excited to share this doc, this resource. It's in a PDF. I also created a little video in that portal as well, opening the portal. Gordon, control and his illusion, and why roller coasters were invented. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. So if you want to check out the resource, I will plug the link into the comments after this video. And so you can download the PDF, keep it on your device, use it. You'll be able to flow through each month's breakdown. So I have January, February, March, and you'll be able to flow through each of the energy reports and insights. And it's really for you to dive into your intuition, your inner creator, your divinity, for you to support yourself here on this path. And also in that resource portal that I have it in on Mighty Networks, there's a lot of other supports like yoga and meditation. And the other guide that I have is the Art of Setting Intentions, which you can also print off. It is a calendar, and it has each month a theme for setting intentions and questions that you can ask yourself to really support your practice of being intentional and of intention setting, because that is also what we are here to do is to cultivate very intentional and ritualistic living, and really honoring the sacredness of our divinity in our everyday lives, you know, showing up in that. And so, yeah, you'll find all of that in the resources in Mighty Networks. And I'm so, so excited to have created that portal. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me here and sharing your energy and a few laughs and your wisdom and insight. It's so appreciated. And you are all in my prayers for 2022. And oh, hey, Julia. And I hope you all, I'll definitely be back doing some more lives over the year, of course. I pop in when intuitively guided. And as always, this is a beautiful sacred container where we can hold space in virtual sacred circles. So thank you so much for sharing your energy. Hey, gorgeous. Sharing your space. And yeah. Oh, no, you're not creepy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad you felt that, because I sincerely create this space, create this container out of pure heart. And these portals, these free resources that I have for everyone is purely because I want you all to feel so supported and so loved on your path and your sacred journey, and for you to shine so bright that we all need sunglasses. That's what this year is all about. Shine in your truth, embody your truth so brightly that I need to replace these glasses with sunglasses. So thank you, and have a beautiful day.